Welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan, and with me is...
Brian. Hello, David. How are you doing? Nice background you have there. Think, Mark!
Think,
Mark! So we've been dancing
think
around
Captain Invincible. Think.
talking about Invincible for many, many moons. And we finally made it here today. Listen to us. As we have been talking little tidbits about Invincible. And now we're here to talk about more about Invincible.
Indeed. We're finally talking about that.
There's news. There's always news.
There's always news. Always something that has tickled our fancy throughout the week.
A little tickled my fancy is all the farming games Nintendo's coming out with. So Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct.
All of them are farming games.
Yeah, half of them. They showed like 20 games and like 12 of them were farming related. Stardew Valley really has driven the market into farming.
Well, I watched the Donkeys thing. It's like, oh, farming games, which is back to Sony's, and then back to Nintendo. Oh, another farming game.
Yeah. They did show a lot of farming games, but obviously the highlight of the show, at least for me, was the new Zelda game, David. Tears of the Kingdom. What do you think about Tears of the Kingdom? With all the gameplay they showed, what was your favorite moment?
When they finally got us away from the wall that we saw for 90% of the trailer.
That was a highlight.
It was like a 1.5-minute trailer, and like most of that 1.5 minutes, you were just staring at a wall.
Well, somebody had to look at a wall first. It had to be done. It comes out next year in May. I'm excited. That's really the only game I cared about. I don't really want to play any farming games. I don't know about you. Yeah, I know you're really into farming games.
I mean, I played Farmville back on the day on the old Facebooks, back when Farmville was a thing.
That's your farming experience, is Farmville?
Yeah.
Is Farmville still a thing? Can you still play Farmville? Probably,
I don't.
Right?
I think it's dead.
It's dead? They killed it?
I think Farmville burnt down.
Oh, no.
I think it burnt down, fell over, and sank into the swamp.
That's not good. Well, I'm sorry, Farmville. You were a good game, apparently. I never played it, but I know people who did. I'm one of the people that did.
You
were the guy.
Yeah, I'm the guy. My mom played it.
A lot of people played it. I don't know much about it, but I know people did like it. It was the original farming game. Was there a game before? No, there was.
I'm sure there was a PC farming simulator long before Farmville was a thing.
Okay, well, I'm unaware of it.
Because PC farming simulator. I mean, they had Goat Simulator. I mean, if they had a Goat Simulator, they must have had a farming simulator.
A farming simulator? I don't even know. When did it come out? When did Facebook come out? I feel like it's just been out forever. Well, no, there's definitely been games before that.
I mean, since I was in college, I think. Maybe.
It's been out for at least a year. How about that? We can agree on that it's been out for at least a year?
Oh, when I was in college, my friend kept sending me links who was also on Facebook, kept sending me links that Facebook was going to switch to like a monthly pay model, a subscription model. I'm like, no, it's not. It's going to
be a Netflix subscription.
It still hasn't, although, Meta might be when it's like the virtual reality.
When they run out of money, they're going to have to start charging people.
Yeah, when enough people have like left Facebook, they'll start charging the remaining users.
Facebook has 13,000 users left.
Wow.
Each one has to pay $1,000 a month.
So Mark Zuckerberg. So Think Mark can keep up his.
Think Mark. Think Mark.
So Mark Zuckerberg can keep his thinking.
See, a lot of people think that this is not a scripted show. This is. That whole Facebook segment was just a setup for your background. That's all it was. Everything is planned. So the same day was the state of play for Sony PlayStation, and the only game I cared about there was God of War, because God of War is the greatest game of all time.
You didn't want to talk about Tekken 8?
I mean, it's there.
They have muscles.
I don't know much about it.
They have muscles now. I didn't know if you knew this before, but this is the first Tekken game where they have muscles.
Tekken was like a 3D fighter, wasn't it? Or like an arena where you like go around in a circle? I don't think the trailer... Are they changing it up?
Tekken's always been a 3D fighter.
But the trailer didn't look like it.
The camera angles are showing them. I don't know. Maybe they switched it to just 2D. I don't know. I didn't really watch the trailer for it, but Tekken like started as like a 3D arena fighting game.
Yeah, yeah. Now
Like-
I don't think the trailer showed that. but
Remember
I'm
Battle
sure it will
Arena
be.
Toshinden? How come they didn't show a new Battle Arena Toshinden? Because that was a Sony exclusive back in the day.
Well, I mean, they can't make everything, man. They can't make every game. But yeah, God of War's coming out. The trailer was amazing. The trailer was like super cool. I'm hoping. Do you have any theories on what's going to happen in God of War? I want Kratos to fight Boy, and he kills Boy and says, "Boy, that was a mistake."
I don't think Kratos is gonna fight and kill Boy. I mean, I actually just finished the original God of War for the first time, so everyone's probably appalled at this, and I kind of am too, but I'm also kind of not. I have got basically only a couple months between finishing God of War for the first time and playing God of War Ragnarok for the first time. Like, I've got a very small window. Like, if I played
Yeah.
this game when I got it.
It's like you just finished it too. It's not like it was you finished it a couple weeks ago. It's like you literally just did it.
Days ago I finished it, and the game is a masterpiece. And one of the things you see on the wall briefly, it looks like Kratos being held by Boy. It looks like Kratos is killed.
Well, I mean, they might kill Kratos, but he's also died in the past. He's died 3 times. I looked it up because I wanted to be sure.
How many times Kratos canonically died and came back?
Yeah, he canonically died 3 times and has like crawled back from hell each time. So, I mean, if he dies, I wouldn't imagine he's gonna stay dead. Be cool though. It'd be a good impact to the story, and I think it'd be a cool thing. I don't want Kratos to die. He's like the best video game character.
Yeah, I don't want him to die either. My prediction is, I mean, I keep hearing time travel is going to be a thing. So, I mean, Boy's going to have to go into the past, into the far past, with his wife, I guess, or he finds her in the past or whatever. Because they have to have. Because I mean,
Wait, Kratos' new wife or family?
No, Boy.
Oh,
Atreus.
Boy's mom.
No, Atreus. He has to find his wife. Boy's gonna get Boy
Oh, okay.
because Gormagander, the snake, is his child.
Yeah, he's got to. I don't know how that happened. No,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Boy's got to go back in time at some point so he can have his wolf child and his snake child.
yeah, which is it's possible.
So
with humans.
So I mean, that's just how Norse mythology works. You know, these gods have babies, and all of a sudden they're an animal. That's cool. It's like the world serpent.
It's not a human anymore.
It
It's
can
not a.
It's
It's just a snake.
Fenrir.
That wraps the whole planet.
And Fenrir, the wolf, who's gonna bite
Yeah,
off
that's the size
Tyr's
of a
hand.
building.
You know, it's fine. It's just Norse mythology. That's a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, my prediction is Boy's gonna have to go back in time, and because time travel's neat, he's either gonna go back in time and you lose him, you lose, shooting arrows for half the game as like, your side thing, being able to stun enemies with arrows, or because time travel's neat, he goes back in time and he's immediately back at the same time. So, time travel's neat like that. You might lose him for a big chunk of the game, you might not lose him for much time at all.
Yeah, you might just lose him for just like a story section.
Well, I mean,
But-
it could be like, Brock and Sindri, like when they, they just like can appear out of nowhere. Like they're gone for like a second and they've like built a new axe for you and they hand it to you, or they've upgraded something.
Yeah, and they're just back.
Yeah, they just,
It's such a good game. Such a good game.
like when you're in hell, they just like upgrade your weapon. He's like sneaking out behind a rock. They go back to the forge, upgrade their weapon, and they bring you like the upgrade. And it's just like instantaneously, basically.
Yeah, because dwarfs are the best, and they have time traveling powers.
So
They better be in this game too. Have they? I'm sure they'll be in this
They are.
game, but I don't think we've seen them yet.
we have.
Or maybe we have in one of the trailer. We have?
They're
Oh yeah, no, we have. We
yeah,
have.
they're
Yeah,
definitely
they're
the
in
trailers.
trailer. The last thing I got is a bit of housekeeping. We talked about this a little bit. There's too much Marvel stuff. I can't take all this Marvel stuff anymore, so we're gonna be cutting back on Marvel, I think, and only gonna really talk about or podcast on the ones. Maybe we might see ones that we won't podcast on, but I think we're gonna only do ones that interest both of us, kind of going forward. It's just too much Marvel stuff.
Or we might just have to do a Marvel Smatter medley where we just like quickly go through a couple Marvel things we've seen and not dedicate an entire podcast to just one Marvel thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. We could do that. It's just there's so much Marvel stuff, and they showed. It's like I felt like a month ago they just showed like 15 movies that are coming out and TV shows, and then like a month later they show like another 15 movies that are coming out. It's like, man, I can't keep up anymore. I can't keep up.
Yeah,
and most of it's not even really good anymore.
Yeah, it's Phase 4 has been 99% bad. There was Eternals, which I liked, and I felt like moved the story forward. A lot of people hated the Eternals. That's fine. It was a winner for me because it's the only movie that's actually pushed the story forward in any meaningful way.
Yeah, it did push it forward, unlike any of the other movies.
Or shows or anything. Everything feels like a massive step back. I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home was, a good movie, but it was only because it was like this nostalgia thirst trap for the other two Spider-Men.
Pretty much.
I mean,
and also, it's like the argument. The argument to what we're saying is that, well, they're just recovering from like the aftermath that Thanos was. It's like I don't want a filler like year arc in Marvel movies.
It's a filler multi-year arc. Like Phase 4 is like since it's mostly TV shows, it is more hours of content than like Phase 1 and 2, and I think 3 combined. That's a lot of content for nothing to happen. And yeah, they're backdooring new characters in there, but Thor would have been the perfect one to like transition to Lady Thor, Mighty Thor, and then they kill her at the end. And I'm like, well, what was even the point of a fourth Thor movie if you're not transitioning? Because that's what Phase 4 has felt like. It's like a transition. We're getting new characters here, there. They're just making these sub characters more important than the named character of the film. Like Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness was I joked about when we talked about it. It was the Chavez and Scarlet Witch movie featuring also starring Mr. Strange, Doctor Strange. So it was very strange that he was like the least important part of his movie, and there was these other two characters that they're trying to build up, and it's just not been great because Doctor Strange was one of my favorite superheroes, and the fact that he wasn't a huge part in his own movie was kind of like.
It was a America Chavez movie.
Yeah, it was America Chavez and Scarlet Witch. Yeah, featuring Doctor Strange. Yeah. It was kind of sad.
There's just too much, and not even. I mean, the shows are kind of like not great either. Like I don't think either one of us was too impressed with like Moon Knight. I know you have watched She-Hulk.
Moon Knight was such a cool idea, and like the show's execution was like.
It wasn't great.
It was like you could tell they were trying to just make the show super cheap because every time there was about to be a fight scene, they just cut till after it was over.
He just fought. Trust us, guys. It was a good fight.
It was.
We saw it off screen.
It was really cool, but you don't get to see it. It's like that's why I watch these things. I want to see the cool fights.
Screw the story. I just want to see man beat man.
Well, I mean, the story hasn't been good, so at least give me a good fight, like to make up for the story not being good. But Moon Knight gave us neither. They didn't give us a good story or a good fight. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like, it's not superhero fatigue. I don't think, considering what we're talking about today. I think it's more of just like. It's just kind of like average, and the plot's not that great.
Marvel formulaic fatigue. That's what it is. Like superheroes aren't bad in of themselves. It's just what you do with it. And Marvel's gotten so comfortable with how they've been doing everything, and they'll know they'll get views, so they basically put in the least amount of effort and get views, and it's been
maximize profit.
Yeah, it's been suffering because of that.
Even Doctor Strange, or not Doctor Strange, Daredevil. They had like Daredevil on Netflix. That show was like one of the greatest like Netflix creations, and they're bringing it back, but they're rebooting it with the same characters. He's like, they said it's not season 4 or whatever it's on. This is season 1, episode 1 again. Like why? So it's gonna be another. It's gonna be lighthearted now, but
And
That's probably gonna be.
they're gonna PGIze him instead of like, because he was
Yeah, he was
pretty
like
hard.
pretty brutal.
He was brutal. It was great. I love the original. I'm scared they're gonna ruin Daredevil.
They're gonna ruin it. It's gonna be ruined.
I mean, I haven't watched the latest She-Hulk episode with Daredevil in it yet, but yeah, I'm scared it's gonna be really, really bad. Because I mean, I was excited for She-Hulk because I wanted like a She-Hulk show because I'm a fan of She-Hulk, but like what they're doing with the show just isn't great. And like, if they wanted to do a comedy, that's all good and fine. But I mean, normally comedies are funny.
Whoa, that's a controversial take. That's a controversial take right there.
This show isn't funny, but I will give it this. More happens in each episode of She-Hulk than happens in Rings of Power. So
well, I haven't seen it, so I can't confirm or deny, but I'll trust you.
Take that how you will. Like, nothing happened in the first 3 episodes of Rings of Power. It's just...
I don't want to take that. Take that back. I don't... Take it back. I don't want it.
It's there. It's out there in the world.
It's in the universe. You manifested boringness. I'm manifesting a boring TV show.
That's just a problem. A lot of stuff is boring now. But Invincibles wasn't boring.
No, it was not boring.
It was very good. And I was sad it was over at the end of episode 8. But I was trying to make a transition to, like, speaking of, money stuff, Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 news is the most depressing thing ever.
The game comes out, and we just talked about this last night. And I don't know if we figured out when it was coming out, or
I
if anybody knew.
I believe it's coming out in October. But I remember several months ago, earlier this year, a Blizzard announced Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 weren't coming out this year, and we were like, well, duh. And like, why I never assumed they were coming out this year. And then now they're all of a sudden putting at least Overwatch 2 out this year. And I'm like, why? Do you know why they're putting out Overwatch 2 this year, Brian?
Is this something I should know? I feel like you said that in a way where I should know the answer to this, but I don't think I do.
Battle Pass. We gotta start raking in that money.
Start making money.
We gotta start making money. It's like the game. It's a free to play game. It can be broken, incomplete. We'll put it out, and we're gonna just pull in that money with Battle Pass. And the thing is, I honestly feel so bad for like the little guys at Blizzard, the developers who are having to like make Overwatch 2. They never balanced Overwatch 1 ever. It was never balanced, especially when they started trying to make it an esport. And now with the Battle Pass, my wife was reading about it this morning. They're hoping to put out like a new character and map like every other season.
Okay.
For the Battle Pass. That is a lot of characters and a lot of maps, which won't be balanced or play tested well enough because it's been like years since Overwatch 1 came out, and in Overwatch 2 it feels like we played the beta, you and I and my wife. Yep. And it felt like they did nothing, and the entire span between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 was basically
they removed
the same.
The character. That's what they did. They removed somebody.
Well, they just changed their name. They have
No, it's like it's 5v5 now. Like they removed...
they removed the so they took away from the game. They removed a character. They added 3 maps and 1 new character as at the time of the beta that we played.
Yeah, and it's not Overwatch is it can be a fun game. There's potential there. We have had fun with it in the past, but it's kind of just. I think everybody feels this way. I think it's like, well, maybe not everybody, because most people that are going to play Overwatch 2 don't know anything about this news. They're just like, new Overwatch game? Sounds cool, guys. Let's log on in and play. Buy the Battle Pass. It's only $9 or whatever it is. But, we're kind of sitting here thinking about it and be like, man, this game is not that great anymore.
Yeah, it's fallen quite a bit. Like, if they always had this model, this wouldn't be a tough pill to swallow. But because this model is brand new to Overwatch 2, and it wasn't how Overwatch 1 was done, it's
like live service games. Like anybody who's been around long enough to play games before live service games know that live service games are like not the way to go. Like these kind of expansions that Overwatch is doing is something that would just be free 10 years ago. It was just something that would just come out and it would just be part of the main game.
Well, it was true at Overwatch 1. Like, characters were free and maps were free. If you bought the game, you got...
Yeah, and you just got stuff.
I would rather just pay outright for Overwatch 2 and not be nickeled and dimed every season.
Well, no, that's not how... Yeah, there has to be a monthly fee for everything.
And,
everything has to have, like, a monthly fee.
And from what I understand, there's 80 tiers of Battle Pass, and the character unlock...
Oh,
for your new character is on tier 55. So you have to invest a stupid amount of time each season to unlock the character. And
cool.
what I don't know for sure, I think this is still in the rumor mill part, is that you have to have all the characters unlocked before you can even try comp. And so if that's true, it's like going to be the only game we'd ever be able to play if we decided to play Overwatch, because you have to spend so much time to even unlock the character to even go into...
We're just going to be
comp.
trying to level up.
Probably not even going to bother.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I have to know more about the Battle Pass, because I'm sure there's still stuff there, rumors and stuff, but so far it doesn't sound too good.
It sounds awful, and you know, I hope enough people boycott Blizzard and boycott Overwatch 2 that maybe they'll change their mind on things.
Nah, man, it's not changing. They're gonna make a ton of money. Diablo Immortal, for how bad it was, still is making a lot of money.
It's so sad. I wish people would stand up and like vote with their wallets. Don't give them money for stuff that's super irresponsible.
So we need to give props to some good devs then, like Larian and Santa Monica Studios, who still are making good games and
Beautiful games.
You know, making the consumer happy.
Yeah, we a couple of weeks ago just finished Divinity 2 Original Sin, Brian, my wife, and I, and it was amazing.
Yeah, they do a great job with that game.
It was a masterpiece of a game. So was God of War. No nickeling and diming. It was the game. We paid for it, and it was some of the best experiences of gaming I've had in a while.
Yeah. There's still good developers out there. We just gotta find them, man. Most of them are probably indie developers, to be fair. All the good ones are indie developers because they're not, like, consumed by, like, Tencent.
Where you have to, like, monetize everything out the wazoo.
Everything is monetizable. But yeah, that's the news before the news. And the news now is that Invincible is cool.
On to the meat and potatoes, as you like to say.
The meat and potatoes. So,
boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
But yes, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Lord of the Rings. So with all the garbage shows and movies that are out there, every once in a while, one that will fly by and kind of goes unnoticed. This show came out the same time that not Winter. What's that Marvel show with the Shield guy, Anthony Mackie? It was so good, I can remember everything.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yeah, that. This came out the same time as that show was coming out. And I remember watching Captain Falcon, or whatever the heck his name is. Man, I can't believe I have forgotten this much about that show.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
And my brain's just like, you don't need this.
To be fair, it was a very bad show.
And this wasn't getting a lot of love. A lot of people, I'm surprised you like watched it, or like you knew what it was. I think before I knew what it was.
Oh yeah, I watched it. I was like, oh, what? I think Aaron had mentioned it at some point, because he probably read the comics and he mentioned it to me at some point. So I watched it. And yeah,
and it's pretty good. So this is one of the ones that came out of the blue, and it kind of sucks because I think adults kind of see as animation as kind of like, oh, that's for kids or whatever. This is not for kids at all. This is like really, like, as you can see from your background right now, this is not a kids animation show. So it like captures something that you can't see in live action.
It's really funny because when I watched the first episode the first time, I was like, oh, is this a kid show? Because like it was pretty tame. It was pretty
but
tame.
Then it happens.
Until the last couple minutes of the episode. And then this guy straight up murders like the superhero Justice League of this universe or whatever, like in the most gruesome way possible. It was bonkers. And I was like, wow. I guess this
Well,
isn't for kids.
hold on. Before we start breaking down this show, because that's, I think, for anybody who's watched Invincible, once they get to like that last like 5 minutes of episode 1, they're like, I'm on board. I'm watching this now.
Yeah.
So,
that
David,
was a
what would
good
you
hook.
rate Invincible?
Oh yeah.
What's your rate?
I'd give like a 9.5. You know, it's
Whoa, okay, nine
it's
nine five.
really good, really good.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I don't know if it's 9. No, I'll give it a 8.7. 8.7. 8.7 is what I'm gonna give. It's a really good show. I think people should just watch it. I mean, if you like this kind of stuff,
Well,
it's a superhero show. There's a lot of tropes.
Honestly, I have to
Snowball.
give this show just high praise, just because it happened to come out on Amazon Prime, and they are they are dropping the ball hard lately. Wheel of Time was terrible. Rings of Power so far has been pretty boring, and almost nothing has been happening. And they made Galadriel one of the most hated characters ever. That's my hot take for right now, where we
More
are.
to come. More to come on this.
More to come. And then they canceled The Expanse, which was a really good show, but they canceled it. I mean, there's 3 books left of content they could do, and they just stopped. So that's not great. So yeah,
It must not been getting views.
so finding a win on Amazon Prime, that's great. This is really good, and I really hope they don't ruin the next season by like making it dumb like Wheel of Time and the like toning it down.
I don't think
Because-
so. There's no way. There's it's the same people doing season 2 as season
okay,
1. Nothing's
okay,
changing.
Okay, just making sure.
It's got to be good, man. We got to have hope.
Gotta
have
have
hope
hope.
for something.
Well, I mean, The Boys. We loved season 1 and 2, but season 3 was kind of like you didn't really do anything with the show.
No, but we're not on season 3 yet. We're going to season 2.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just saying, Amazon in general has been dropping the ball lately. When it comes to
they definitely have.
their TV shows, like
Well, they never really been on the ball. It's kind of like they've been
they
chasing
were.
the ball.
no, they were on the ball. The Expanse was great.
Yeah, but it didn't start on Amazon.
It didn't start, but they picked it up, and the episodes they did do on it were great, and Invincible was great. So I mean, like they've got
2 shows.
They've got 2 shows.
They got 2 shows that are good.
I've heard good things about Man in the High Castle. I never got into it though.
I've never even heard of it, so I can't say anything about it. So a lot of shows that do animation, that like Nintendo is, we're gonna dog on Nintendo again, but Mario has a voice actor. I don't know if you know this, but Mario's had a voice actor for a very long time.
Mario's been a silent protagonist. Don't you know anything about Mario?
Okay, yeah, he's wrong. He doesn't make any types of noises. So there is a guy that does do Mario, but they want to bring in Chris Pratt, which is, I don't know. Chris Pratt's kind of getting annoying for me. I don't know if he's getting annoying for you, but like, I don't know. There's something about him that he's starting to get kind of annoying. But they bring in these giant voice actors to try to pump numbers or whatever. This show doesn't do that. There are big names in this, but they're like they can voice act. They're not just like, I'm Chris Pratt and now I'm going to talk into this microphone and I'm going to pretend I'm Mario. It's like people are acting as if they are, Omni-Man, J.K. Simmons, or Zachary Quinto for Robot.
And Zachary Quinto is a nice Star Trek name, Spock from the reboot movies. And we have another Star Trek alumni, at least one other. Battle Beast is voiced by Michael Dorn.
Very cool.
Who's Worf?
Yeah, the show has really good voice acting. But I think we should talk about the episode 1 before, because there's like 2 things that kind of happen in this show. I would say the first episode and the last episode, where it's like, that was an amazing show. For this show to even get any type of recognition from anybody, it needed to like create the greatest season finale of like all time. So that's how I figured out about this show, was after it already aired all the episodes. And then people started talking about the last episode of season 1, and it definitely pays off. But in episode 1, we're kind of just being introduced to these characters, and the character development for this show throughout the whole show, I think, is pretty fantastic. Like, you have a good idea of who every character is. It's not like there's a lot up to interpretation. We know people's abilities. We know what they want, what they don't want, that kind of stuff. A lot of shows just kind of give you a lot of characters and just like show you like 3 people and you just learn about their stories. For this show, you kind of learn about everybody.
Yeah, they
And
did a good job.
yeah, at the end of season 1, they get done introducing like the Justice League-esque characters, because everything's got to have a Justice League, and they're similar to the Justice League. There's your Wonder Woman, there's your Flash, there's your Superman, who's Omni-Man. There's they're all similar characters, and Omni-Man just
Oh, and there's Fish Guy, who's
right here.
obviously Aquaman.
yeah. There's Fish Guy. There's a Batman guy.
There's a Batman guy. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Fish Guy. He's Aquaman.
He's obviously like Aquaman because he looks like a fish, just like Jason Momoa.
Exactly. They're a spitting image of each other.
Yeah.
They're twins. And but at the end, Omni-Man just decides to kill the entire all of them for reasons that we don't understand until I think the season finale. Really, is when
the season finale is when we find out. So like the show is just structured brilliantly. The first episode is like, oh, this could be a kid show. Then it ends with a giant hook of him just murdering the entire thing in the most gruesome way possible. It is fantastic. It's like, whoa. I wasn't expecting that. It
was pretty tame. The whole first episode is pretty tame. There's fighting. Tame. And there's like some blood, and it's like, this isn't like crazy. And then you get to the last episode, and you're like, oh.
No, the last couple minutes, and then it's like, whoa. And then like it doesn't pay off. Like really, you don't like understand the full story. Like they're trying to uncover the story throughout the season. The guy who's like the head of like the humans who kind of build the Justice League.
Cecil
Cecil. He's like Nick Fury. It's like a combination of Justice League and like the Avengers, because the archetypes are more like the characters are more like the Justice League, but it's set up more like the Avengers, where like there's a human agency that kind of like runs, oversees the superheroes doing their thing. So it's kind of like a combination of like both.
And there's a lot of tropes, superhero tropes in this show. I mean, just given there's literally a Justice League kind of thing going on. There's a lot of tropes, but somehow this show is able to figure out a way where it feels like it's its own thing. Like it doesn't feel like it's comparable to anything, but it is comparable. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like they do it well enough where you don't really feel like there's a lot of tropes going on.
It adds its own flair enough so that you don't care that it's the similar trope.
Yeah, I get that's a good way to put it.
And then they also add and they added cool their own things. You get like they've got basically Hellboy existing in the universe too, but instead of being like a fighter, he's like a detective trying to like uncover crimes. He's like literally like a devil, like a Hellboy like devil trying to uncover crimes. You've got these bad guys that just clone each other over and over again, and they don't know which one's which, running around causing havoc. They got Robot who wants to be a real boy.
He wants to be a real boy.
He's like
do you have a favorite character? Who's your favorite? Like, who's a character where you're like, that one's cool? I do like Robot. I like Robot a lot.
I like Robot. I forgot Zachary Quinto was in this. I mean, I recognized his voice the first time I watched it, but it had been so long between viewings, I forgot Zachary Quinto was in it. I like Robot. He's pretty powerful. I wish we got to see more of him. We didn't really see him at his peak until he's like a real boy, and he's got like 2 of his robots, and then like Optimus Prime Robot. It's literally a truck that turns into a big version of Robot.
And what's cool is that Robot, like you and me are calling out Robot as being a cool character. Robot is not like the main story beat at all. He's kind of like just he's like a side quest. Anything to do with him. So it goes to show like how well they do character development. If we're like saying like, yeah, Robot is like one of the best characters. I mean, even Cecil or Adam Eve, they're all like really cool characters, even though they're not the main character.
I wish we got more of Adam Eve's like powers being used more efficiently in combat, because she like changes how things are in reality, and I feel like her fight scenes didn't kind of like use that great, because she just like makes like doors out of thin air in her house. Like she just like changes matter. I feel like that could have been like
she controls atoms.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Her name, I thought the first time I watched this was her name was like Adam, Adam, Eve. and I didn't understand her powers, but this time I figured out because I saw an interview with one of the creators of the show, and they said a lot of people he saw that he was getting like tweets that people were getting confused that her name is Atom, Atomeve.
Yeah.
So she controls atoms and she can
Atoms.
create things out of atoms. So
Yeah,
that's kind of her power. So she kind of can do
pretty
whatever she wants.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see a little bit more clear.
Oh
things
yeah,
she
for
can do.
sure.
In the fights anyway, because like when she's at home using her powers, it's very clear she's like manipulating
Just
matter.
making things out of thin air.
Yeah. She could have made some cooler things in the fights. I think that's like my only complaint about her power.
It's kind of like a Green Lantern type of thing.
Yeah.
But like actually creates things, not
Yeah.
just like the Ring has like makes a dump truck. She like can actually make a dump truck
Yeah.
that's usable.
But I think she's got to make it out of existing things.
Yeah, but it like exists. It's not like in like a ring where it's like the ring disappears and the ring power disappears and the thing that you're imagining disappears. This will stay there even if her powers are done or she's not using them anymore.
Yeah.
Another character that is I think everybody's favorite is going to be Omni-Man. He's like the Homelander kind of thing where it's like you don't want to like him but like you do.
It's also J.K. It's also not fair that it's J.K. Simmons. Like,
yeah, he's a fantastic actor.
Especially as a gamer, like J.K. Simmons. Like, just hearing his voice, I automatically like him. Like, no matter what. Like, he's awful to Spider-Man in all the old Spider-Man movies. He's the best character in the Spider-Man movies because he's J.K. Simmons. He's in Portal. He's a Cave Johnson. Like
Cave Johnson.
Every single time Cave Johnson talks, I love it in Portal too. When Omni-Man talks, I love J.K. Simmons. I love his delivery. He is absolutely amazing. And as like a geek growing up with Spider-Man and with Portal 2, like having J.K. Simmons be like basically Superman is fantastic.
He doesn't miss. J.K. Simmons doesn't miss. Everything he's in is like pretty good. Like I'm sure he's in stuff that we don't really have watched or anything, but everything I can think of, it's like, yeah, he's in Whiplash. That was a great movie.
State Farm commercials. I'll watch those. So J.K. Simmons.
State Farm commercials. I'm on board.
Yeah, we've seen a thing or two.
Yeah, so after like he does a well enough job where after episode 1 happens and everybody dies, you're trying to figure out like, well, why'd he do that? Because he seems like he's a good father. He's a good husband. He's just trying to save the world. He's just here to like help out. Mm-hmm. And he slowly becomes kind of like this like dick, awful dick because his name's Dick. Anyway, he kind of becomes this like bad character over time. It's like he starts off in in episode 1, he's like, wow, that's like an awful person. Then episode 2, you're like, actually, you forget that he did that in episode 1. Episode 3, it gets a little worse. It's just a little worse until he like goes full on ballistic in the last episode, and you're like, wow, he really is a villain.
Yeah,
because we don't know anything about him until the end.
Yeah, we don't know
really his story.
We don't know his true story until the very end.
Basically,
he's a Viltrumite. Viltrumite, yeah, basically Krypton, but instead of instead of the world blowing up, they basically committed mass genocide. They basically became Spartans in space. They just committed mass.
That's a great way to put it. They pretty much have become Spartans.
They're space Spartans, and so they killed each other till only the strongest ones survived. And they rebuilt their society with only the very strongest. So it's like Spartans meets eugenics meets Superman, Kryptonians, but the planet doesn't die. It's just almost everyone on the planet dies. Which, I mean, it's its own thing. It's great.
Yeah, it's it's kind of like the same thing as Superman, but just changed a little bit. Where it's like, that's not too bad.
Yeah, well, they're
interesting.
Spartans in space.
Exactly.
Speaking of God of War, since we already talked about God of War, they're definitely Spartans in space. And their goal is to basically, since they're so strong, and they just they go to solar systems, and they try to conquer them all out in force, like just old.
It's
old
not
school
try.
style.
They don't try to conquer them. They do conquer them.
Well, no, but their original goal was they just went in force with a bunch of them, and they just beat down a planet into subjugation. But instead of doing that, basically, they just there was too few of them to do that on the scale they wanted to, so they just send one Viltrumite to each planet they're wanting to conquer that's like in their path or whatever, so that they like weaken the world. They kill all the strong things on it and pretend to be good, and they kill all the good strong things, and then once they come in, then they just kind of like hand the planet over because there's no way for them to resist anymore. So it's like the long game for Conquer,
because they're pretty. They are Superman. Like they're like Superman. It's like, what if Superman was like a Ditto and he made like a bunch of himself?
And they live for like thousands of years.
Yeah, so you just kind of lose, and you don't know that until the last episode, and you're trying to figure it out along with the Hellboy guy.
During this part.
Yeah, that's pretty much the scene where you figure out what's going on. So he has a son that is named Dick. He has a son named Dick.
Mark is
who's Dick Grayson?
Dick Grayson is Robin from Batman.
Oh yeah. Man, I don't know where I got that from. I guess I got it from Robin.
Or Nightwing.
Okay. Yes. I don't know where. Boy, that was a big mistake. Anyway, Mark is Omni-Man's son. Think Mark. You've already brought it up, and I still messed up. So, he's Omni-Man's son, along with he's like half human, half Viltrumite man, and
he was a late bloomer.
He's trying to get his powers. Yeah, he's trying to get his powers. He's a young boy trying to get his powers. Yeah, and he does get them, which is cool because he's just going to be as strong as his dad, apparently, according to his dad at least, because he's like almost pure or whatever. He's like, Viltrumite DNA is so pure that you're basically pure Viltrumite.
my sperm ate most of your mother's egg.
They don't say that in the show, but they should have.
Well, I mean, that's basically what he's implying. It's like, yeah, it's like you're mostly my DNA. Like, my sperm just implanted on her wall, and you just became like it's just ate her egg, and it's that's all it is. Yeah.
We don't need an egg.
We just need the woman to birth the sperm.
Exactly. Yeah,
I mean, that's basically. It's like you're basically pure Viltrumite. So what? She got like one partial cell from his mother.
I do have a problem with this show. Is kind of like the power levels that they're showing. So towards the middle of the season, they get invaded by aliens, and this guy, this girl, robot, and all them, they're fighting the invasion aliens, and then they leave. And then they are on like a different timeline or time stream or something like that. So they come back and they're even stronger because more time has passed for them than it passed for humans. They fight them again. They start losing, and Omni-Man shows up, and he like destroys the whole planet. Just like he just flies through the planet and just like ends the whole planet. He's like, we're done with this.
Flies through the portal and just destroys, like, Earth is mine, and just kind of blows them. I mean, it's kind of like once you've seen the show, like things that happen definitely hint toward, you know, the end goal of the Viltrumites. But you know when you're watching it the first time, it's like, oh, he's just defending, you know, Earth because Earth is, you know, his planet that, you know, he's living on. You know, no,
but it shows how strong he is, where he's able to just like, if he wants to destroy a planet, he can destroy a planet. And it feels like kind of in the last episode they nerf him a little bit, because these guys up here, these like half human, half android people, fight him. And he's like has a kind of a tough time with them. When he, like 3 episodes before that, he destroyed a planet just because he didn't want to deal with it anymore. But those little robot guys give him some problems. So there's a little bit of like, it's to add drama obviously to the show, because there's not really anything that can beat him at all. Like nothing's even close. So that was kind of something I had a problem with. That's really the only thing I could think of. I was trying to think of things I didn't like, and that was the only thing I could come up with.
I mean, his sliding power scale doesn't bother me nearly as much as the Avengers sliding power scale.
Oh no, well that's way on a different. That's on a different.
Well, because I mean, Captain America's like standing toe to toe with Thanos when he's got the Gauntlet and 3 Infinity Stones, but Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man can't even bother to put a scratch on him when he doesn't have the Infinity Gauntlet or any of the stones. Really?
Yeah, that was a big. There's
Are
a
you,
big difference. I mean,
are you serious?
Thor-
Like, cut to J.K. Simmons. Are you serious?
are you serious? I mean, Thor pretty much kills Thanos pretty much in what is it, Infinity War? He just like throws his hammer, it like kills him. And then well, like they nerfed him. They had to make him fat because he did that. Like okay, that's a bad example because they did make Thor weaker because they had to. They didn't have a choice because he was getting too powerful. But anyway, Robot's cool. I like Robot. So there's a sliding power scale. The last episode here was when he holds Mark up and Mark's like weak enough where he can't really do anything and they're in like a subway. And this is where the show really solidifies, I think, for everybody. It's like this is not like a children's show at all. If it wasn't obvious already, is that he just holds Mark's head up while a subway like goes through him and it just kills like everybody on the subway. He's like, I don't want to kill these people. It's like you don't have a choice.
It's like Mark's body just kills them by being in the way.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was a really cool scene. Like, it's gruesome, but it's just like, man, they just taking all the stops.
But yeah, you gotta do it somehow. So they kind of have a fight, and what I'm curious of what's gonna happen is in season 2. How the heck do they stop an invasion? Like, there's got to be characters we don't know about yet because they can't beat Omni-Man. How are they gonna beat like 50 Viltrumites? I don't know how. Like, it doesn't seem like it's possible for Earth to win this.
I don't know, because Omni-Man leaves. He just gets up and leaves after he remembers watching his son's baseball game, and it's like, yeah, baseball's a pretty.
It's emotional. It's an
emotional sport. So he decides to leave because of baseball, and we don't know if that's an actual change of heart, or he's going to try and stop the Viltrumite army from coming, or if he's going to try to delay them from coming, just say, hey, Earth's not ready yet. You know, I've still got more to. I don't know what he's trying to like accomplish.
No, we don't know. We don't know yet.
So we don't know if he's like good or if he's trying to bring them early. We don't know what his actual end game is at this point. We don't know if he's bringing them or if he's trying to stop them.
If he doesn't try to stop them, I don't know how Earth's gonna survive. There's no we're saying like Omni-Man's like way stronger. It's like they're showing like Superman in the comic. Like Superman is generally he's always the strongest in like any medium. Superman can pretty much beat anybody, and they really show that with Omni-Man where like nobody can beat him. There's nobody even close. He's just too strong.
And Mark can't beat him yet because he's still trying to understand the full extent of his power.
Mark's still like a buddy. That's what most of the show focuses on is Mark trying to understand how to use his powers because he's just like in school. He's just trying to figure out how to fly. So he's not really going to be serviceable yet. There is Seth Rogen does show up in this show. He's like I don't know what race he was or whatever, but he's like an alien that can fly through space or something.
Oh yeah, the one-eyed guy
the one-eyed Cyclops guy. That's Seth Rogen. And he shows up and they have a conversation. He might be really powerful. I don't know. But he did say, like, this planet was tagged for Viltrum activity and to, like, stay away from it because the whole universe is, like, scared of Viltrumites because they're, like, way more powerful than everything, I guess.
Well, I think the only way Earth would be able to withstand it is I think they said there's a coalition that's wanting... Seth Rogen's character says a coalition that's wanting to stand up against it. Against the Viltrumites. So I mean that would be like the thing. It wouldn't be Earth. It would be like a conglomerate of beings from across the universe.
Boy, that'd be wild if the show really got into like the universe characters rather than just Earth characters. Because I'm sorry, as cool as Adam Eve is and Robot, I don't think they're gonna beat Omni-Man. I mean, maybe Adam Eve can. Robot probably won't be able to.
I mean, Adam Eve could turn Omni-Man into like Jello and eat it. I don't know.
He's Jello Man now.
He's Jello
Man. Cecil is another character. He's the Samwise Gamgee.
He's the Nick Fury.
Yeah, he's the Nick Fury.
Samwise Gamgee.
Because it's who's it played by?
Oh, he's played by
Samuel L. Jackson. Samwise Gamgee.
Oh, okay.
That's the actor of Nick Fury,
Samuel
Samuel L.
L.
Jackson. So anyway, that one didn't land.
I was very confused.
So Cecil is I like him as a character as well. He's definitely one of my more favorites because he's kind of just doing whatever he can to like make sure Earth is safe, and he has like cool stuff. He's not like useless like Nick Fury is. He actually does stuff.
Nick Fury's been MIA for a long time.
Yeah, well, Nick Fury kind of just like shows up and talks to people.
Don't worry, he'll be back in Secret Wars.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay. Anyway, Cecil has like tools and monsters that America, I guess, has captured, and they can use. They have a satellite that like makes a giant explosion. They have a giant sea monster. They have like this vision. They put something in the water so that only certain people can see stuff.
Fluoride.
Oh, is that it? They put some, whatever it is, they put something in the water.
It's good for your teeth and makes you blind to certain kinds of light.
Yep. Is it really fluoride? Isn't that in our water? Or is that?
Yes, it's fluoride's in our water, but I'm just saying
Okay.
it's got a dual purpose.
That one went over my head.
It's a dual purpose.
Yeah, there is a dual purpose, but they put something in the water that makes you blind to certain things so you can't see them. So he actually is able. He talks to the Hellboy character a lot. Like he actually does stuff, which is cool.
And he's got like the Necronomicon, and like he reads the spell to send him back to hell.
Oh yeah, just summon him. That was kind of cool.
Like parts of it feel very anime because that felt like a very anime thing.
Yeah, well, anime is kind of like anime is generally more for like younger adults into adults. Anime is not really for kids, and I think that's where I think American cartoons kind of get stuff from is probably anime, because anime has been a thing in Japan forever. Like as we get older, animation in America dies, and you're like, oh, I don't want to see Pixar anymore. But in Japan, I think you kind of just keep going. I don't think you start like
Vampire Hunter D, Ghost in the Shell, like very adult animation.
Yeah, there's a lot of adult stuff in anime, and there's definitely stuff to get here. But Cecil's a cool character. I can't think of this guy's name, the Wolverine guy.
Invincible.
What's his name?
No, he's not invincible. He's
No, he is. He's kind of invincible. Whatever his name is.
I can't remember.
He's kind of like, I don't really understand what his powers. He's like Superman, but like
he's the Immortal. The Immortal, I think his name.
Yeah, but he can like fly, and he's kind of got Superman powers, but
I think his name is the Immortal.
Oh, that's his name, because he is immortal.
I think so, because like basically like they cut him apart and like they put him back together, and he like lives again. Like what?
And the way he dies is he gets his head cut off. Omni-Man kind of just like scissors his head off.
Karate chops his head off. He gets brought back to life by the twins who clone each other, and then he goes after Omni-Man and then dies 2 seconds later again.
Yeah, he does poke him in the eye though. He does get a good double poke in the eye like they do in Game of Thrones. Yeah, he tries to go for the Game of Thrones kill with the mountain, and that doesn't really work out for him. It does make Omni-Man's eyes red, so that might be an effective way to kill him.
Omni-Man gets incredibly upset, and then Omni-Man cuts him apart at the waist.
Yeah, it gives him a double scissor slice.
And then they just have to put him back together again.
They'll bring him back. So yeah, I don't. It's kind of just everything's about Omni-Man, really. It's kind of like we're just trying to figure out about Omni-Man, because as much as all the characters in the show are at a mystery of trying to figure out what's going on, we're also trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's like, is he being controlled by someone? Is he being blackmailed? Like, that's the thing. It's like you're trying to figure out, like, he's got to be a good guy. What's happening? Is he being blackmailed? Like, is he being coerced? Is he being mind controlled? Like, what's going on? Why is this good guy acting so bad? And it's the truth that we find out that he's just there just to weaken the planet, which is it was cool to like just be like, oh wow, he's just a bad guy.
There's a plot twist, and it's a good plot twist. David, do you have any other thoughts? I think I've got everything I've thought about.
Monster Girl is a really tragic character. I mean, like, I know you were speaking of characters that were interesting. Monster Girl's really tragic. It's her power makes her human form makes her younger. So she's like in her 20s, but she looks like she's like 12. So that's like That's kind
That
of
would
like
be a that'd be
that's
a bad superpower to
that's a
have.
really bad superpower. So she's gonna be like out of commission soon because she'll be like an infant.
She's out of commission soon.
She'll like be an infant and she'll turn into monster girl and she'll turn back into like a separate sperm and egg. So,
How far can it go? She's being Benjamin Buttoned,
yeah,
kind of. Yeah,
poor
she's.
monster girl.
Yeah, there's some. There, I feel like they're going to expand on a lot of these characters in season 2 because season 1 they do such a good job with character development. I can't imagine they're just going to stop doing that unless they introduce a ton of more characters.
It'd be nice if we get the monster guy more, who's voiced by
Yeah.
Michael Dorn, because the battle beast, I guess his name was,
Yep.
he's only in the show for like a couple minutes. He's like in one fight and he's like, oh, I thought this was gonna be harder. Maybe we'll get him. Maybe Battle Beast will come back and beat Omni Man because Battle Beast, like,
He's pretty strong.
yeah, he's the strongest person in the show next to Omni Man, for sure.
You
at this
also
point.
just brought up the twins. We didn't really talk about the twins, how like lovable they are. They're just like two big dudes. One of them's a clone,
Yeah,
but the other one's a clone. They're both clones, but neither one of them's a clone.
they always argue about who the original is.
Yeah, and they just like are scientists that are like bad guys, but like they don't feel like bad guys. They're kind of like not good bad guys. Like they're not good at being bad guys.
Yeah, they're not good at being bad guys. It's like they're both simultaneously brilliant and really stupid. It's like they're smart because they're scientists, but they're also like really bad at being villains.
Yeah, they're kind of cool. I do like when they show up on screen. I don't mind that they take up some time. I find them amusing.
Yeah, they're kind of like comic relief for the show.
They start
a
working
little
with
bit.
Robot,
Hmm.
who's one of our favorite characters that we've established. Of all the characters, that can't really.
I think
Those are the ones that come to mind.
I think the least developed is the multiplicity character, the one that can clone herself, where she
Yeah,
just makes
she's not
multiple.
talked about a lot.
Like basically her role in the show is to sleep with Adam Eve's boyfriend, and like that's basically all she does is she just causes them to break up.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They do show there's kind of like some like child loving starting to go on with them, where since Monster Girl becomes like a baby, there's also another robot also.
Robot
Like
wants to clone himself into a young body, so like she can feel like she's normal by having a boyfriend or whatever who's also young.
yeah, let's not maybe expand on that one. I don't really want to see like a romantic relationship between like 8-year-olds. Just not into that. Not for me.
They're not really 8.
Okay, man. Like, then don't make them 8. Don't make them look like they're 8.
Oh, maybe they'll die off pretty quick next season. I don't know.
They're gonna die off. Don't
Yeah.
kill Robot. He's still cool. So yeah, that's Invincible.
Yeah, it was very good. Very good. Definitely worth a watch. Superhero tropes, but it does its own unique spin on it enough so that it's still really enjoyable.
Season 2 is supposed to come out this year.
Oh, that'd be cool.
However, we're getting close to the end of the year and we don't have a trailer yet or announcement of literally anything. It's like the last episode ended last year when it came out, and then everything they've been radio silent since. We don't know anything. We know that it's been renewed for season 2 and 3,
Ooh.
and that's it. We don't know if it's supposed to come out in 2023. They're supposed to do one season per year, and this would be season 2 this year that we're in now, and they haven't proved that at all yet.
Well,
Maybe
like
they will in a couple weeks.
Well, like we said, Amazon's been been dropping the ball lately.
No, they're on the ball, man. Everything they come out with just brings the power. Dude, so good.
Perfection.
Don't worry, we'll talk about that more when the show
When the
is
show's over. Yes.
We have a date. There's a date we have in mind that we'll talk
Oh
about
yes,
that on.
Brian has been very diligent at scheduling out our schedule going forward, so we're not having to scramble last second for a topic idea. So
We don't really scramble too much. It's kind of just like, yeah, let's do this now. It's not like we're sitting here for like 5 hours trying to figure out what to talk about. It's not too much of a problem.
oh no, it's not. It's just.
But it's nice to have like
it's-
an idea.
It's just Brian has got us so organized now. We've got a date for Dune 2. And then TM, as long as
In case it gets delayed, it can be pushed back. But we do have a date that we already have the podcast date for Dune 2. That is true.
So Brian's been helping to get this organized, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem, man.
Although I can't wait for Peacemaker season 2. I know you're talking about superhero fatigue.
I already looked that up. We don't know the date for that yet, so I didn't put it on the schedule.
Thinking ahead, I like it. All right, what did you guys think of Invincible? Have you seen it yet? Did you enjoy it?
Nope.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay.
Well, I would imagine most people haven't really seen it. Besides you, I don't know anybody who's even heard of it. So, and I've brought this up to a lot of people, because I want to spread the good word of Invincible. But so far, everybody that I've talked to about Invincible, nobody knows what Invincible is.
Really? That's. I mean,
yeah.
I guess I don't know a ton of people who do either, but I don't talk to a ton of people regularly either. So.
Well, I don't either, but it's just people on the street. I'll just go up to them and be like, "Hey, have you heard about Invincible?
Have you seen it?
Have you seen Invincible? Please watch it. I need a season 2.
Have you signed into the Prime of Amazon?
Please, everybody has it. Don't pretend you don't. We know you do.
We know you do.
You have Amazon. So yeah, watch it, enjoy it. Email David at synthaholics@yahoo.com.
Yeah, let us know what you think about it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely don't go anywhere else. Just email. We're very professional and we only deal with email.
I mean, you can do comments on the YouTube page.
No, don't do that. Email only, please.
No, engage.
Don't like the video or subscribe or listen to the podcast anywhere but on an email.
Or follow us on Twitch.
We'll send everybody the email.
Or
link.
follow us on Twitch so you can watch us live and talk to us live. Don't do any of that.
No, don't do any of that.
But you should, please.
Please, we need more.
Yeah, tell your friends. Share this with all the people who might enjoy.
Yeah, email only. Via email.
Rand McNally and randmcnally.com.
I think that's the first that you're bringing up Rand McNally this podcast. Yeah. I think there might be an outtake about Rand McNally. However, I promise anybody who's listening this out there, this will not be the last time you hear about Rand McNally.
Brian,
no, he knows what it is.
Brian has found it on eBay and he's gonna buy it.
Nobody knows what Rand McNally is.
Rand McNally, for those who don't know, Rand McNally is it's Google Maps before there was the internet. It was a program.
It's been around for a long time.
You installed on your computer, and you would type in where you live and where you want to go, and you could print out the maps of instructions for road trips. It was old school computer maps,
from what I understand.
Absolutely, I used it exclusively until MapQuest came out.
Oh man. Well, Rand McNally will be a future podcast episode. No, probably not, but I definitely will bring it up again.
For the Rand McNally lore. You heard it here first.
Yeah. It's been around since 1850.
Good job. Very good. All right. Well, thank you all for listening and watching. Live long and prosper, one and all, and don't get hit by Omni-Man or J.K. Simmons.
Bad idea.
Bad idea. Next time. All right. What's your favorite map software, Dim Dare to Brian?
Well, it's going to be Rand McNally.
It's going to be
created in 1856, according to Wikipedia. And what's funny is that the two guys that created it, they took their last names to make the company. So it was one of the guys' name was Rand, and the other one was McNally. And they were genius because this was before people knew how to speak. They combined it together, and they had Rand McNally, the first corporation ever made.
They combined it together. The first computer map software ever made in the 1800s. I wonder how they got their computers to work back then.
They probably had cows.
They have,
And the cows would like pulse. No, horses. It's horsepower, not cow power.
they have gerbils and wheels just going to make
The
their
giant room. Yeah, they're the ones that invented the computer, I think.
Rand McNally.
William
Ah.
Rand.
Good old Rand McNally.
Hello, my name's Rand.
Rand McNally, superior to MapQuest, superior to Google Maps, superior.
It's way better than everything. I
What
think
a-
this is what we should be using. We should get this tablet and put it in our car.
What about Alta Vista Maps?
No, Rand McNally's better.
Let's see.